Most people think fish die suddenly. One day they seem normal, and the next morning, they're floating at the top of the tank. But here's what most owners never realize. Fish almost always give warnings first. Tiny changes, subtle behaviors, moments that seem harmless until it's too late. And the disturbing part is that many of these signs don't even look dangerous at first. A fish resting in the corner, swimming a little slower, skipping one meal. Normal, right? Not always. Because some of the behaviors owners ignore the most are actually emergency signals. So in this video, we're going to go through 6 critical warning signs your fish may be dying, what they actually mean psychologically and biologically, and most importantly, what you can still do to save them before the damage becomes irreversible. And pay close attention to number 5, because this is the sign many fish show only hours before death, and most people completely misunderstand it.
Number 1, your fish stops reacting to you. One of the earliest warning signs is also one of the quietest. Your fish stops noticing you. Normally, healthy fish become highly aware of movement outside the tank. Over time, many fish learn your schedule, your footsteps, feeding patterns, even the direction you approach from. Some will swim toward the glass before food even appears. Not because they're begging, because they've learned to associate you with predictability. But when a fish becomes seriously weak or stressed, that awareness often disappears first. You walk up to the tank, and nothing happens. No curiosity, no reaction, no repositioning, just stillness. And this is where many owners make a dangerous mistake. They assume, maybe my fish is just tired today. But fish don't conserve energy unless something is wrong. In nature, reduced awareness is dangerous. A distracted fish becomes easy prey. So when a fish suddenly stops responding to its environment, it often means the body is already under severe internal stress. Here's what you should do immediately. Test ammonia and nitrite levels, check water temperature, look for rapid breathing, reduce stress in the tank. And most importantly, watch for the next sign. Because when these two behaviors appear together, the situation can become critical very quickly.
Number 2, heavy or rapid breathing. This is one of the most overlooked emergency signals in aquariums. A fish can look perfectly normal visually, while slowly suffocating. Watch the gills closely. If they're moving rapidly, flaring aggressively, or your fish is constantly breathing near the surface, something is wrong. And here's what most people don't realize. Fish don't breathe because water exists. They breathe because oxygen exists inside the water. And when oxygen drops or toxins damage the gills, the fish enters survival mode. You'll often notice hanging near filters, staying close to surface agitation, sudden lethargy, panicked darting followed by exhaustion. At this point, the fish isn't resting, it's struggling. Imagine trying to breathe through a straw for hours. That constant stress drains the body incredibly fast. Now, here's the important part. Even experienced owners sometimes misread this as weird behavior, when it's actually one of the few warning signs that can kill fish within a single night. So if you notice rapid breathing, increase surface movement immediately. Perform a partial water change, check ammonia levels, make sure temperature isn't too high. Avoid overfeeding, because poor water quality is often invisible until the fish starts gasping for air. But breathing changes are only the beginning, because the next sign is where fish behavior becomes strangely deceptive. And this is where many owners accidentally wait too long.
Number 3, hiding more than usual. Fish hide naturally. That's normal. But there's a massive difference between hiding for comfort and hiding because the body is shutting down. Healthy fish still monitor the world. They peek out, they reposition, they stay alert. A dying fish often does the opposite. It withdraws completely, behind decorations, under plants, in corners it never used before. And this behavior has deep survival instincts behind it. In nature, weak fish isolate themselves because vulnerability attracts predators. So when a fish suddenly disappears for long periods, it may not be being shy. It may be trying to survive. And this creates a dangerous illusion for owners. Because the fish is still alive, the situation feels less urgent. But here's what makes this sign especially risky. Many fish begin hiding heavily before visible disease symptoms appear, before discoloration, fin damage, bloating, fungus, which means behavior often changes before appearance does. And this is where observant owners save fish lives. If your fish suddenly changes its normal routine, don't ignore it, monitor eating closely, inspect for bullying, test water immediately, because behavior is often the first language of illness, and what happens next is usually even more alarming.
Number 4, refusing food. A healthy fish almost always shows interest in food. Even cautious fish usually investigate feeding time. So when appetite suddenly disappears, pay attention, because eating requires energy, and sick fish begin reallocating energy towards survival. Digestion slows, movement decreases, the immune system becomes stressed, and this creates one of the clearest warning signs in aquarium behavior. The fish watches food fall but doesn't move, or worse, it tries to eat, then spits the food back out. That's often a sign the fish is already physically struggling. Now, occasionally skipping a meal is not always dangerous, but multiple missed feedings combined with lethargy, hiding, rapid breathing, isolation can indicate severe stress or disease progression. And here's something many owners don't realize until it's too late. Fish are extremely good at hiding weakness. In the wild, visible weakness gets animals killed. So by the time appetite fully disappears, the illness is often already advanced. But surprisingly, the next warning sign may be the most emotionally unsettling of all, because it completely changes the way many people interpret resting.
Number 5. Lying still at the bottom. This is the sign many owners mistake for sleep, and sometimes it is. But when a fish suddenly spends long periods motionless at the bottom of the tank, especially during normal active hours, you should take it seriously. Watch carefully. Does the fish seem balanced? Or does it look tilted, weak, unable to stabilize itself? Because loss of energy control is one of the clearest indicators that the body is failing. And here's what's heartbreaking about this stage. The fish often isn't relaxing. It's conserving the last energy it has left. In severe illness, even swimming becomes exhausting. So the fish minimizes movement entirely. And many owners miss this moment because the fish is still technically alive, still breathing, still present, but internally, the body may already be overwhelmed. Now, if this behavior appears suddenly, act immediately. Isolate aggressive tank mates, dim bright lights, perform a water change, check for infection or swim bladder issues, stabilize temperature carefully. Because sometimes fish recover surprisingly fast once stress is reduced. But if this final sign appears too, the situation becomes extremely serious.
Number 6. Clamped fins and loss of balance. This is one of the clearest physical distress signals fish can show. Healthy fish hold their fins open naturally. It helps them stabilize, communicate, and move confidently. But sick fish often pull their fins tightly against their body, almost like they're shrinking inward. And biologically, that's exactly what's happening. The fish is shutting down non-essential activity to preserve energy. You may also notice wobbling, drifting sideways, floating awkwardly, struggling to stay upright. At this point, the nervous system, stress response, or internal organs may already be compromised. And this is where many owners finally realize something is seriously wrong. But here's the difficult truth. Fish rarely reach this stage without earlier warning signs appearing first. The problem is that those earlier signs looked small, harmless, easy to dismiss, until they connected together. And this is what separates experienced fish keepers from everyone else. Experienced owners don't just watch for disease, they watch for changes in behavior, because fish communicate suffering quietly, not dramatically. And sometimes the only thing standing between recovery and death is whether someone notices those subtle changes early enough.
So the next time your fish behaves differently, don't immediately assume it's random. Fish don't suddenly become still, hide, stop eating, or ignore the world around them for no reason. Behavior is often the first warning signal their body gives, long before visible illness appears. Because to a fish, survival depends on hiding weakness, but to a good owner, saving them depends on recognizing it anyway. And now I'm curious, what was the very first behavior change you noticed before one of your fish became sick? Leave it in the comments. You might help another owner recognize the warning signs early enough to save theirs too.